Continues, so the grind continues. This whole 4K thing on YouTube for the people that haven't reached the level, it will test the person. It will let you know how much hustle you have inside of you. It'll let you know how much you want it, how important this thing is to you. I guess it's indicative of anything. You know what I'm saying? How much does anything mean to you? How much are you willing to hustle for it? When you're hustling for something or trying to reach a goal, sometimes you never really know how much it's worth until the end. Sometimes you have to really just go through the situation and, figure out what's what and see if you could meet and achieve your goals. Sometimes you really don't know if it'll be worth it or if you'll make it to where you're trying to go. But sometimes, the least you could do is make the effort, and, push forward. Sometimes things will work out, sometimes they won't. But it's like I said yesterday on a couple of live streams that I was on, at least you make the effort and the attempt and try to just really put yourself in a position to win, because you never know what's going to happen. Like even now, my efforts, may fall short. But the question is, did I at least try? Did I at least, make that effort to really go the distance? And hopefully, I could say yeah, but I guess people, are really tired or burnt out with certain situations, and like I said, you don't really know, but it is about how hard you hustle. It is about what this thing means to you, this whole YouTube experience, this online journey that folks are going on. For some people, this is a hobby. For other folks, it is a little bit more. Maybe it is something that they want to, take to the next level. Sometimes you may just want to have the opportunity to go to the next level, to monetize your content, to just take it somewhere where you never thought it could go. And thank you to the one person that's in the chat. But it does really come down to how hard do you hustle? How bad do you want it? What are you willing to scrape and fight for and scratch for as it pertains to, this whole situation on YouTube or in life or with a job, anything that you're going after. How bad do you want it? Are you putting the best foot forward? Are you putting your effort into it? Are you really hustling for it? Are you really going after it? And your efforts in the end will show. Sometimes you may never reach the goal that you actually is intended or set out for, but you put yourself in a position to win. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with just, trying to go out there and fight for something that you feel is worth it. Sometimes the goalpost is moved and the rules change in the middle of the game, but then you ask yourself the question, do you just give up? Do you just walk away? Do you just, let it go, let it be? And I say to anybody, try to accomplish anything, not just so much about YouTube and social media, but anybody trying to accomplish anything. Hey, what's going on, Black Storm? Thank you for coming through. I definitely appreciate that. I say anybody trying to accomplish anything in life, it is about how hard you hustle. It is about what's inside of you. It is about that grind, saying that passion that you have, nothing can be done, I guess effectively in certain times, in certain ways, if you don't really have that passion, that goal, that drive, that motivation to go after what it is that you're trying to achieve, and it comes to a point where, you have to look deep down inside of yourself and do some soul searching and say, what, is it worth it for me? What does this mean for me? What am I trying to accomplish? And that's with anything. That's not just with, this whole YouTube experience, even though a lot of people were, shaken up, by the whole 4K, 1,000 subscriber thing. It's not impossible. You could dust yourself off and, just get up, try again, find out what this new landscape is, what it means to you, find out if you fit in, get in where you fit in, find out if it's worth it to you. But sometimes we really don't know if something is worth it to us until we actually put our best foot forward or put an effort out there that we could look back on and say, you know what? At least I made the attempt. At least I tried. At least I gave myself a chance. At least I, rose to the occasion, whatever that occasion may be, whatever that situation was. So for me, when I look myself in the mirror or when it's all said and done, I could say I at least gave myself a chance. And, you know, like I said, sometimes that's all you really can do is just give yourself a chance. Just give yourself the opportunity to push for it, to make something of it, you know. And I just, you know, like I said, I just say it's about what it's worth to you. How hard do you hustle? How bad do you want it? You know, I mean, there are times when there's doubts, you know, there's times when you wonder, you know, will your efforts and the things that you're doing, will it matter, you know, in any event, you know, am I just doing something that's like a candle in the sun overshadowed by other light, you know, or am I in a room in the dark just trying to figure out what's what? Yeah, Black Storm says YouTube is your source. Yeah, YouTube is the source of your Heavenly Father and YouTube avenues. That's interesting. That's interesting, That's interesting, Black Storm. I mean, you invoke the Heavenly Father. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, some people need faith, you know, in their particular endeavors and whatnot. You know, so I mean, like I said, it really is about, you know, like I said, you know, is it worth it to you? You know, I mean, how much effort do you want to put into it? You know, like I said, where do you really want to go with this thing? And that's with anything in life. You know, what does it mean to you? You know, I remember there was a song from a rapper back in the day, Cameron. You know, he said, "What mean the world to you?" You know, and you know, was it money? Was it women? Was it cars? You know, what is it? You know, so like hopefully YouTube doesn't mean the world to people, but at the same time, if it's something that you've been working at, if it's something that, you know, you've been trying to do, you know, why not push it? Why not take it to the next level? You know, if that's something you want to do, because some people, this is just a hobby. You know, this is not something that they're really taking all that serious. But I say even for the folks that are looking at this as a hobby, you know, that are looking at this as something, you know, to do on the side, I still say you should have the right to actually get monetized and, you know, basically get paid for it. What's up, Mark Splays? I see you out there. Let me see what Black Storm said again. Yeah, do what you love and the money will follow. Exactly. And if you love this and you happen to, you know, go hard for YouTube and see something going on there and you want to, you know, like really push it and have an opportunity to compete out there, then go after it. You know, hustle for it. Don't worry about the consequences. You know, don't worry about the cost until, you know, the end of your journey, and then you'll see. You know, because for me, once I get to February 20th, I'll look back and say, you know what, did I really make the conscious effort to actually meet these guidelines and these standards? And if the answer is yes, then that's really all I can ask for. I can't ask for more. You know, I can't really look back and be, you know, upset about anything, because who's to say once I meet the guidelines, they don't change the guidelines again and say, you know what, now it's about something else. You know, so I really don't know. But the question is, you know, what is in it for me? You know, what am I trying to gain? You know, how hard do I want to hustle for it? How much time do I want to invest in this thing? Is it worth it? You know, I mean, these are real questions that, you know, I ask myself and you could ask yourself. And that's really with anything, you know. Is this something that you're passionate about? Is it something that's worth your time? Is it something that's going to accomplish the goals that you set out? You know, really, what do you want from this thing? And I think this year, more than ever, for more people, if YouTube follows through with what they say they're going to do, you're going to find out what it means to be a YouTube creator, not somebody who watches YouTube, because a lot of us have accounts just to keep up with music and, you know, just to watch what's, you know, the daily goings-ons on, you know, YouTube and, you know, social media and stuff like that. But I think this is going to be the year for a lot of creators, a lot of people who put, you know, content on the platform just to really see if, you know, this is for them, you know, just to see, you know, from a monetization standpoint. Now, don't get it wrong or get it twisted. And like I said, if you just want to come, hey, what's up, Ro King? I see you. If you're on the platform and this is just a hobby to you, right, and you're not looking to make money, then you're fine for now. Like I said, hopefully you're not doing anything as far as hate speech and trolling and sub for sub. But at the same time, you'll find out whether or not this is, you know, something that you want to do long term. If this is something that's worth you doing long term, you're going to find that out in these next couple of months, especially if you haven't met those guidelines. Because it comes to a point, let's say you don't meet the guidelines, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it to keep going and to try to get myself monetized again? And then once you do get to a point where you get monetized again, you have to say, okay, what is the end goal for this thing? What is the next plan? What is the next strategy? Because I was on a live stream last night, and I think Green Bay Wacky was talking about, how you have to diversify. This is letting folks know that now you come to a point where you diversify, because let's say you stay monetized or you're monetized on YouTube already and you're in the safe zone or whatever the case. But you have to ask yourself, what happens if they move the goalposts or change the guidelines or make it, difficult for people that already have revenue coming in? What do you do then? And where else can you make money? How else can you, branch out and really monetize? And I think a lot of people on YouTube really don't know how to do that. Even people that are successful and making money on YouTube really don't know how to branch out and diversify and make a lot of money on other places, other platforms. So it's easy and convenient to be on YouTube, which I'm not knocking. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying that this is causing a situation where you may have to think other places as well. Black Source says Facebook put MySpace out of business, and who knows the challenge what YouTube will have. Well, listen, I say YouTube will have challenges. I mean, it's coming. Some people disagree with me. I say you watch out for Amazon. I say you look at Facebook. Facebook is trying to do some exciting things over there with the music, letting people, license music out for their videos, and they're trying to pay creators more. So that could be definitely something that get people to come back and take a second look at Facebook. I'm not totally ruling that out. But like I said, this causes a good conversation, to be had about, internet content, basically, monetization and, the use of a platform and trying to find out your place here. I mean, this is a larger conversation beyond YouTube. This is not just about YouTube per se. This is YouTube tightening up and sharpening up to try to compete and try to keep money from, the advertisers and investors going. But at the same time, for the creators, for us small guys, this is something for us. It's maybe a watershed moment. It's a realization, of where we need to be, of what we need to look at. And I think Dark Matter said on the live stream that we were on last night, you start looking at it as a business or looking from the business aspect of it. And it depends, it depends on if that's for you. I mean, realistically, it's not for everybody. For some people, it is just a hobby. For some people, you just like, doing what you do, coming on here and just using it for the social media aspect, which is nothing wrong with that. If you want to use this for the social media hobby aspect or so on and so forth, cool. But don't be mad if you come back and then you want to monetize your content and they're telling you that these guidelines still have to be met and this is what you have to do. I mean, it's still good to understand that you can make money and do different things. Like even when I wasn't monetizing my content on here, I still had to be aware of the fact that you could monetize and get paid and do all those things that, are necessary to make a dollar and, step forward. So having the option to monetize, having the option to make money off of your content, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're not hurting anybody or doing anything, negative out there. It's a matter of saying, okay, what does it mean to me? Saying as far as monetization, as far as putting out content, as far as engaging with people and doing different particular things. Hopefully this is not boring anybody, but like I said, these are things that's on my mind. These are things that I'm thinking about. I'm just trying to articulate it in the best way possible. I'm just trying to give myself a chance to succeed, to push forward, and just basically have a conversation with those that are willing to conversate and really talk about these particular things as it pertains to just social media, monetization of content, just where you can go on any platform, just, guidelines and, how things are done. Somebody was saying in a video that I was watching that, we're like renting space out here. This is YouTube. YouTube is like the landlord. And at any time they could change, I guess the rules of like tenant landlord, agreements and stuff like that. So, we're renting space, at any time YouTube could decide, basically this is what we need to be in this space in a certain way, and that's just really what's happening. And for anybody here, you have to ask yourself, if you haven't met the standards or the criteria yet, can you take it to the next level? Is it worth it for you? How hard do you want to hustle for it? And, it's a matter of just executing and going out there and just doing the raw stuff, You know, like right now I'm just doing the raw stuff, and you know, we're seeing what's going to happen. Facebook, yeah, Black Storm. I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, all I'm going to say is that regardless of who's put out of business, regardless of what platform pops up after YouTube or Facebook or Amazon or whatever the case, the question is are you willing to build yourself up or put yourself out there, in a way where you could survive and be sustained, regardless of what platform is out there? Because you look at the Viners, the people that were on Vine, they moved from Vine to YouTube, and I'm guaranteeing you that those people that move from Vine to YouTube are prepared to move towards another platform if need be. So the question is, when you look at those Viners, when you look at those people, what is it that they did? Study the people that were successful with this. Thank you. I appreciate that, Chris, for you stopping by to show the support. Definitely, I appreciate that. But like I said, it comes down to, how hard do you want to hustle for it? How serious do you want to take this thing, and where do you want to go, with this platform? And also, too, I say to anybody out there who's going through the struggle and who meets the guidelines and who stays monetized, don't be afraid to turn around and tell other people how you did it. Don't be afraid to come back and say, look, I was here and this is what happened. Don't be afraid. I say to anybody out there who's making money and who is successful on YouTube, don't be afraid to tell people the realistic things that you did, because there's people that'll give you 10 tips and 5 strategies and the philosophies behind what they did, which is cool, even the principles, which is cool. But sometimes at a raw level, sometimes people need to know, like, look, how did you get to 100,000 subscribers, or how did you get to 4,000 hours watch time? How did you get your first 100, your first 1,000? And there's some people that really give like real advice or real practical knowledge on it, but I think there's not enough people that tell the real story on how they got where they got. Sometimes people get to the level that they are, and then they give you the dramatization. They give you like the PG version or the Hollywood version of how they got there. It's almost as if they got there off just luck, off of a whim, and there was no struggle, there was no stress, there was no strain, there was no doubt, there was no fear. And it's so much more to it than that. People really had to struggle. People really had to go through things. Even if it's on YouTube or any other platform or just any other avenue in life that people had to have real conversations. And that's what I say to anybody. And these are real conversations that you would try to have with people who are actually trying to do something. Yeah, Chris, the struggle is real. Like for me, the struggle is real. It wasn't easy to get to that first 1,000 subscribers that I got. And like I said, I don't know when I'm going to get the next 1,000, especially since now I'm just trying to, get the watch minutes up, so that's another issue, trying to get other subscribers. That's something that, I may have to get to later, but the thing is being real about the struggle, being real about what it took. And this does take a lot of work. It's time consuming trying to, do this whole YouTube thing, not getting paid for it. But still being in a position to monetize and get paid for it when you reach a certain threshold, because people are not telling you the other side of it. Folks are telling you about the 4,000 hours or the 1,000 subscribers, but people are not saying anything about the threshold that you need to reach, because once you get those 4,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers, you still have to reach $100 threshold, which most people are not talking about. So what the $100 threshold is a situation where every so often you get a certain amount of money for the views that you get on YouTube. Let's say every 1,000 views you get, let's say maybe $1 or $2 or $3 or whatever it is. What's up, Buck? And once you reach $100, for every 1,000 views, right? Then you start to get paid. Exactly. Chris, it took you 2 years to make $100. And that's if your videos are gaining traction. Let's say your videos are only getting a couple of hundred views. Let's say your videos are only getting 50, 60, 70 views. It's going to take you maybe 5, 6 years before you get your first payment. And your first payment may not be, $100. Your first payment may only be a $12 check, a $2 or $3 check. So it still comes to a point, even if you monetize, even if you met the guidelines, is it worth it to you? So now it comes down to the point where you start talking to the other YouTubers that are successful, that are really successful and really making it, and you ask them the question, what did you do? How did you move? Like, I'll speak to somebody like a 805 Road King and pick his brain and ask him real questions and say, well, what did you do? How do you, transition? And what are some of the things that I can learn? What are some of the tips that I could take? And I'll speak to some, the other, Evan Carmichaels of the world and stuff like that, and get engaged with somebody like a Roberto Blake or something like that and ask questions and watch their content and look at what they've done. And then you see that, there's certain things that you have to do. The reality is sometimes you look at your content and maybe the content is not the best. You look at your equipment and equipment needs to be upgraded. Like I'll say, there's a couple of things with me. My content, me personally, my content needs to be upgraded. My equipment needs to be upgraded. I need to be more on a schedule with what I'm doing. I'm realistic. I'm not going to sit here and say that I have the greatest content, but at the same time, I'm trying to do what I can with what I have in the position that I'm in, because there's a lot of people that work. There's a lot of people that are pushing, a 9-to-5 job or a full-time job, part-time job, going to school, got kids, and they're still trying to, do a YouTube channel. This is work. This is hustle. I don't care what anybody tells you. Anybody successful on this platform, I don't know about everywhere else. I know people are doing what they do, not to take away from the Twitters and the Facebooks and all that. This takes work. If you want to be successful on this, if you want to be, on a different level, if you want to make some money, if you want to get a decent check, this takes work. And YouTube makes you work for it. Maybe fairly, I don't know. When you look back on it, you see it, you say, okay, fine. If anything I can say from all this experience and what's happening with it, it will make you a better content creator. That's the one thing I will say about YouTube. It is a hustle, Blackstorm. It is a hustle. Being on YouTube and really trying to succeed and really putting yourself out there and really pushing it to the limit, it will make you a better content creator. The one thing I will say from being on YouTube is that I'll become a vastly better, content creator than I was when I was on any other platform, when, I was on a MySpace or Yahoo or, any other platform that I was on, even the Tumblr, because it forces you to have to think about editing, marketing, strategy, branding, content, engagement with people. Like with me, I'm learning how to do live videos, doing live videos. I'm way better with a live video and just speaking and interacting with people than I was in the beginning. But these are things that happen when you actually get engaged with the community. You find out what's going on, and then you really get passionate about something and you push it. And then you ask yourself, well, how much does this mean to me? Because like I said this before and I'll say it again, I may never make a dime off of YouTube. I may never make a dime, whether I'm monetized or not. But the one thing that I can give them and give this platform is that is made me a better content creator and put me in a better position. So when something else comes along down the line, down the road, I'm ready. Whether I'm in front of the screen, whether I'm behind the screen, whether I'm directing, whether I'm executive producing, whether if I'm editing, whatever the case may be. Yes. Yeah, it does tap into your creative side, but and it becomes a situation where you have to see the pluses. You have to see the positives that come from this situation, because everybody is so concerned about the money. But let's be real. If we're gonna be real right now, there's a lot of people who are monetized who are not making a dime. There's a lot of people who are monetized on YouTube right now who are not making a dime. There's a lot of people who have passed the guidelines for what YouTube has said, and guess what? They're going to be in the same boat as some of the people who are not monetized. And they're going to have content, but the only difference is, okay, they hustled a little bit harder, they met the guidelines, and they'll have ads. So now, for those people who are not monetized, for those people who are trying to push it, the ones that push through those guidelines, I say to everybody that's monetized now, I'm talking about from the highest to the lowest, you better watch out. For that kid, that 13-year-old, for that disabled person, for that homeless person that breaks through those guidelines and they coming next, watch out, because they're coming. They're coming. Listen, they're coming. I mean, all I can say is that this is something that's meant to test people and get, them ready for, whatever else is to come. And, you know, like I said, you'll find out who you are. You'll find out who you are after this. I think personally, people will find out more who they are after the 20th of February. After that, you know, I guess arbitrary, you know, cutoff date. You'll find out who you are then. Not now. Not now. I mean, some people will find out who they are now in these 30 days as far as who you are and what you want and how bad you want it and how you know, much you're willing to go after it. Some people will find out now, you know, but other folks will really find out later. You know, what will you do when you fall short? What will you do when the time passes? What will you do when you have to reapply? What will you do when it seems like your content is going nowhere? What will you do when you see other people that's putting out BS content that are getting millions of views, and these are people who are not even on the level of the consciousness that you're thinking about? What will you do when there's people out there who are 10 times less entertaining than you, who are getting paid from YouTube, and when YouTube is telling you that, you know, they're trying to clean it up? What will you do? Will you sit down? Will you lay down? Will you take it? Will you delete your account? Will you walk away? Will you say it was worth nothing? Will you just, you know, pack it in and act like nothing really happened? Will you say, oh, you know, screw YouTube, YouTube sucks? I mean, because it's a bigger thing right now. This is bigger than YouTube, you know, even though it's going on YouTube. This is about who you are as a person. This is about your ability to create content, your ability to diversify and move on and pivot. I give Roberto Blake that, you know, from robertoblake.com. You know, I'll give him that. He's also a YouTuber as well. It is about your ability to pivot. And a lot of people here get caught, you know, holding the bag or caught looking, because if you're not ready to pivot and you miss the point, then that's on you. Because I'm going to be honest with you. For me, it is about the chance to monetize and have the opportunity to make money off of content that I'm putting together. But I have to be honest. If I'm putting out content that is subpar, that is not on the level, that's not highly edited, that's not really a professional grade on a level with somebody who's out there putting in the work or putting in the hours or going out there and really, you know, doing that thing and grinding, then I'm not going to fool myself. But however, I look at the time and the energy and the effort that I'm putting on here, and I say, look, what is this about? If I never make a dime, if I never reach the goals, if I never get to that point where I could really be on here, I look at the skills that I've gained. I look at the people that I've met, the connections that I've made. I look at the things that come of this thing. And I really just go from there, you know, because like I said, I could get kicked off YouTube tomorrow. But the question is, what about my videos? What about my ability to edit? What about the things that I've learned from, you know, how to use the bandwidth and storage and, you know, just, you know, understanding different, you know, software and stuff like that. You know, these things matter, you know, and some people lose sight because if you lose monetization, what's going on, Just Us Hamburgs? If you lose monetization, some people are just looking at, you know, this experience and saying maybe it was worth nothing. You know, yeah, no, definitely, Black Storm. I mean, this could be a platform just to showcase your work. You know, for some people, this could just be a promotional tool. Not to say you shouldn't get paid for it. Yeah, you should get paid, you know, for what you do. But, you know, obviously different guidelines and different, you know, things that they have set up, you know, the circumstances be as they may. You know, maybe, you know, YouTube or Google or whatever feel like everybody shouldn't get paid for the work and the things that they're putting out there. I believe everybody should get paid. If you get a couple of 100 views on your video, you should get paid for that. But again, you know, they would be cutting out a lot of checks. And, you know, they can't verify that everybody got the views honestly, but that's on YouTube. You know, that's another conversation all in itself. But at the same time, I'll say to anybody on here, on this platform, whether you make a dime or not, right? No, it's not all about the money, but it is about the money for a lot of things. You know, Just Us. What I say on here is that if you're not making a dime, you know, yeah, for YouTube it's just about the money. I agree with you on that. I say for anybody on here, if you're not making a dime, even if you're making money, it comes down to this: have you learned how to put together quality content? Have you learned to professionally edit? Have you learned how to put together something that will last long after YouTube is shut down? And for a lot of people, the answer to that question is no. There's people that have made a lot of money on YouTube, right? But if you take those videos off of YouTube and you start to put them on other platforms, or if they put them on their website, they probably wouldn't get a dime. It'd go double wood. They get paid double plastic. So the question is, can you make content that will last, that will survive, that will thrive, years after YouTube is no longer relevant as it once was, years after certain social media sites, trample down? Can you turn around and pivot and do your own independent thing? Can you turn around and actually go to advertisers and negotiate deals and put together, special tailored content for them? So there are other opportunities. Well, I mean, listen, if it's about the craft, then that's cool too. Exactly. Just us, sometimes you're just grateful for the networking aspect of it. And there's nothing wrong with these things, but sometimes we get so focused on the money that we forget that there's other things that we need to learn. I mean, if you want to get paid, if you want to really, make this into something, you have to know where you stand. You have to know what it is, where your mark is. Like with me, me getting up here and dancing and singing and, trying to be, like the next Chris Brown or whoever the popular singer is, Bruno Mars or whatever, that's probably going to get me embarrassed, but me being me, doing what I do and what works for me, like I said, that could be a niche or a lane that I'm in, and I try to figure out where my bread is buttered, but that's just me, like I said, find out what works for you, don't try to do what works, for somebody else, figure out, where you connect with the audience, find out where your passion is, find out what you're willing to do, even if it was for free. Now, I'll say for the people that are going to be successful with this thing, as far as moving forward with the guidelines, for those people that want to get paid, for those people that want to monetize, it will come down to this. Are you willing to do it for free? Is it something that hey, what's going on, World's Best Videos? Are you willing to grind and still do it without getting paid? And for a lot of us, the answer to that is yes. So if the answer to that is yes, then you work on the content, then you push forward, then you figure out what you need to do, get it worked out, keep it going. Even if you seem silly, there's times where I had to be willing to seem silly. Even now, I had to be willing to come on here, seem silly, have people come in, say, man, this man is just talking up a storm and he's just going on and rambling and ranting and raving or whatever. I seem like a fool. Sometimes you have to seem like a fool for what it is that you're going after. And, that's just what happens, But also, too, I say thank you for those people that support, for those people that watch, for those people that give a thumbs up, for those people that come by and see my content, for those people that engage with me, for those people that really just, go along with me on this journey, whether it makes sense to do it or not, saying whether I'm going to be on YouTube or not, because there's also that flip side. We'll talk about something that maybe a lot of people won't really get into in a realistic way. And that's the whole thing about whether or not it's worth it to stay on YouTube, after all these things, what's going on and whatnot. For some people, the reality of it is it won't be worth it. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Black Storm. You got to go to the Steve Harvey show. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It could be a priceless situation, to go out there and check out Steve. Tell him I said what up. Nah, but seriously, though, on the flip side of it, too, the guidelines and trying to, go further with YouTube won't be for everybody. Listen, it'll be some people who turn around and say, you know what, this is not for me. And that's respectable as well, because some people will say, look, I put in, I don't have the time, I got kids, I got school, I got work, I got other things going on. And that's respectable as well. So like I said, you have to see what it means to you, what it's worth to you, how much are you willing to push it, what are you doing? I mean, and at some point it does come down to the technique. It does come down to your strategy. It does come down to your content. It does come down to, how am I going to proceed and move forward, in this whole landscape of what's going on with YouTube and everything else that's happening. So, yeah, there's a lot to consider with all that. And for me, reality strikes in and sets in. So I have to actually get ready to go to work. I appreciate everybody for watching. This is not the last time you're going to see me. I know there's some people saying I probably shouldn't live stream as much, and I get that too. Yeah. Oh, you talking to me, just us? You're probably not talking to me. You're probably talking to somebody else. But anyway, like I said, I got to get ready to go to work. All I'm going to say is this. Oh, you're talking to me? Oh, I got a short playlist. Well, check my live streams. Check my live streams 2018. If you want to see a playlist, That's probably my longest playlist. I have all my most of my live stream videos in there. So if you want to support, you could just go to that playlist for live January 2018 live streams. That's my longest playlist. You know, yeah. The 37 vlogs. I'm gonna do more vlogs. I need to do a vlog for this month. Right now, I'm trying to get this whole thing out the way with these watch minutes, or trying to get as close to it as possible. I will vlog more, but I have another vlog channel that I need to pump up and do that. So do something with that, and I'm just gonna move forward on that. So yeah, definitely check me out, and I thank you for all the people that came through. I thank you for all the people that will watch on the replay. And believe it or not, some people actually do watch replays on live streams, and I encourage you to watch at least mine's on the replay and share it if you find anything valuable. So I say give the thumbs up, reshare this, subscribe to other people inside the chat, support each other. Even if you only watch 2 or 3 minutes of this live stream over, I'm appreciative. I don't care. You know, like I said, but watch it again, reshare it, let other people know if something in here was valuable. I'm talking about stuff that doesn't just affect me. I'm talking about stuff that affects you. Whether you're a small YouTuber, whether you're a big YouTuber, I've said something in this live stream that pertains to you. Whether you agree with it or not, that's up to you. But again, as always, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.